The Brickyard, a key part of the legendary success of Roger Penske, and now he owns it. This is usually a place that we greet you on a holiday weekend, Memorial Day, but something a little special. It's 4th of July weekend, and it's racing at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Hi, everyone. I'm Mike Tirico. A very special 4th of July. For the first time, America's two biggest racing series share a weekend and a home at the same time. Over this 4th of July weekend, we will have 3 races over 2 days at one iconic place. Tomorrow, it's the NASCAR Cup Series over on the legendary oval. Today, it's racing on the always challenging road course. We'll see the NASCAR Xfinity Series coming up a little bit later on. But first, it's IndyCar. These are unique and different times, but it is nice to have something familiar, isn't it? Racing on a holiday weekend in Indiana. And here with the command to start this historic weekend, the 51st governor of the state of Indiana, Eric J. Holcomb.
Welcome to the racing capital of the world, Indianapolis, Indiana, on our nation's birthday. Let's get this race on. Drivers, start your engines.
So the sounds that have made this place famous start this historic weekend. The engines roar to life. So too does this special weekend in IndyCar and NASCAR history.
They say we are a different breed from regular people, but that's not entirely true. We may go a little quicker, but we still go through life like everybody else.
You have good days and you have bad days.
It is Richard Petty.
And one era always gives way to the next.
The King, Richard Petty, will say goodbye, and there aren't many dry eyes down here.
When we were racing, the respect was real.
But so was rivalries, especially this one.
It's not like IndyCar and NASCAR have never crossed paths before.
Mario Andretti has won the 1967 Daytona 500.
We just done it in our own ways.
And there goes John Andretti, the 48-year-old.
He's not driving like a guy that's the last race.
But we've never seen it like this.
Reports coming out of Indianapolis that for the first time ever, NASCAR and IndyCar will be seen on the same weekend at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
The best of both series together.
At this place above all others, on our nation's birthday.
I'm not sure I could have ever imagined it.
You or me both.
But that's another thing about racing and life.
The turn you don't expect to take can get you to where you want to be.
Two legends help us say happy birthday, America. And it is a hot summer, 4th of July in Indianapolis. Temperature 88 right now, feels like it's 95. The air temperature will be in the 90s and obviously triple digits inside the cars all weekend. Because of COVID-19, all the safety protocols for both NASCAR and IndyCar in effect this weekend. This is the second race of the IndyCar season. But it's the start of a busy stretch for the drivers, the teams, and our team, led by Lee Diffie. Lee, good afternoon. Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th to you as well, Mike. Yeah, it's a really busy time. There are 5 races in some 15 days, so it really is hitting the go button. And what a wonderful day, what a wonderful weekend, because this concept has been spoken about for quite some time, having NASCAR and IndyCar at the same racing venue at the same time. Well, that day has finally arrived. We really wish the fans were here, but you are with us on the television. And we're not asking you to change allegiances, whether you're a NASCAR fan or an IndyCar fan. What today and what this weekend is all about is celebrating this amazing sport that we love. And it happens to be at the most famous racetrack in the world on America's birthday. We could not ask for anything better, and this is the first of 3 races over 2 days. Let's get it going. IndyCar champion Paul Tracy and Townsend Bell are with us as always. And PT, what a wonderful moment for the IndyCar drivers right here, right now, to perform at the Brickyard in front of their NASCAR peers.
Absolutely, but there's massive pressure at Indianapolis just to make it through turn 1, whether it's on the oval or the road course. These guys are going to have a tough time getting through there.
Well, you want to talk about pressure? It's 26 cars going 190 down the front straightaway. barreling into turn one on the brakes, and it's a rookie driver that really impressed me in qualifying. Oliver Askew will roll off 6th, but just over his shoulder is Scott Dixon, 5-time champion. He'll start 7th, but he was fastest in practice this morning and dominant at the first IndyCar race at Texas just a few weeks ago.
Let's give you a snapshot of this field. 26 cars on the grid, and there's quite a spread in between youngest and oldest. There's 4 rookies in this field, and there are lots of countries represented. IndyCar really underscores diversity. Racers from all over the world, all kinds of backgrounds, but they love the sport of IndyCar racing, and to do it at no better place than the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. All right, let's get you to the GMR starting grid, and we're going to meet the drivers who occupy the first 3 rows of the grid.
Will Power, Toowoomba, Australia. Jack Harvey, Buckingham, England.
Colton Herta, Valencia, California.
Graham Rahal, New Albany, Ohio.
Oliver Askew, Jupiter, Florida.
Joseph Newgarden, Nashville, Tennessee.
And here is the rest of the field. As I said, 26 cars here, and you see that on the GMR starting grid. And there are some big-name drivers in very unusual positions. And we'll see how they deal with this over the course of 80 laps, just under 200 miles, and the race is just slightly shorter than what it was, some 5 laps in comparison to last year. So keep your eyes on that GMR starting grid and pick out your favorite driver and see where they are starting and what kind of work they will have ahead of themselves today. Let's walk you through too, while we've got time before the green drops, to show you the various onboard cameras that we have for you. Pagenaud Award with thanks to Arrow, and he is one of 2 Arrow McLaren SP drivers. They've been good. His teammate is Oliver Askew. We've already spoken about him, and this is the Mission Foods onboard. Love this low front shot. It's going to be good. A driver to expect to be in the mix was last year's pole sitter with thanks to NTT data. This is Felix Rosenquist of Chip Ganassi Racing. And then there is the guy who dominated the month of May last year, Simon Pagenaud. We'll get to Simon in a moment because this is Graham Rahal and the 5th third bank. This is Menard's camera of Simon Pagenaud. And who else are we looking for? What other views do we have? We've got the Gainbridge on board of Zach Veach, one of the very strong Andretti Autosport squad. And here are his teammates. And this is the Auto Nation camera of Alexander Rossi aboard the 27 Auto Nation machine, and his teammate Colton Herta, also thanks to Auto Nation. All right, we're getting ready to go for green. It's round 2, as Mike said, of 14 races in this abbreviated NTT IndyCar season for 2020. Unusual for this race to be run in July. 4th of July. It's a hot day here in Indy, and this is going to be a very tough physical examination on these 26 IndyCar drivers. You've got a season champ and an Indy 500 winner on the pole position, and he's got relative newcomer Jack Harvey on his outside in that Meyer Shank Sirius XM car. The GMR Grand Prix at Indianapolis is away. Great start, Will Power. And look at this, Graham Rahal in the blue car. He touched Jack Harvey. That was tight, PT.
Really early start for Will Power. He took off early, got a nice little gap, but it accordions up. Scott Dixon was on the inside, looking to get by Newgarden. They almost touch.
Dixon with a great move up the inside, but that contact with Rahal on the left front with Jack Harvey. I wonder if there's damage to 3rd place Graham Rahal, that baby blue 5th third car. Further back, they're side by side, really dicey through the chicane.
You see that day glow yellow Menard's car. Pagenaud he's mixing it up and in an unusual position. Dixon thought about it there. Tried to go up the inside and thought about it twice on Joseph Newgarden in that yellow and white XPEL Chevrolet.
Beautiful start by the field. Everybody gets through the first turn. Now we're down to racing. Townsend, the tire wear has been really bad so far this weekend. These tires have been falling off at about lap 10. So will these guys try to do this on 2 stops with the tires being so bad?
Remember, 2 compounds, the Firestone Blacks and the Firestone Red sidewalls. The red sidewalls are softer. They don't last as long. Up front, Will Power on reds. Harvey, Rahal, Herta, Newgarden, but Scott Dixon opted Marty Snyder to start on the harder black tire.
And that alternate strategy, Townsend, is what they were planning to do. Black tires, meaning they'll last a little bit longer. Dixon said, we were excellent on those primary tires. Those softer tires, they'll fall off. So Scott Dixon hoping later in this run and having no caution early in the race, that helps the 9-car too, Dave Burns.
Marty checking in on third place, Graham Rahal, just tiny contact coming to the green there, and nothing so far from the driver. Townsend, he had an opportunity coming onto the front straight to talk to his team about it. He didn't say a word.
How about this battle with Connor Daly and Oliver Askew, the U.S. Air Force driver, making some moves. They were side by side, these two young Americans. We ride on board with Askew now.
Busy on the gears, hustling, hard at work. It's only his second IndyCar race, and he finished in the top 10 in Texas a month ago. That was a tough first test, and he passed it very well.
Paul, really exciting times for Connor Daly, who sits up ahead there. You see aim high, U.S. Air Force on the car. Had such a great run at Texas, and he's backing it up with a different team. He switches ovals with one team, Carlin, road courses with Ed Carpenter Racing.
Yes, Ed Carpenter's team really has struggled on road courses over the past few years, and both Connor and VK have done a great job this weekend. They've really been towards the front of the grid.
Inside move, Spencer Pigot. That is on the Dale Coyne Racing with Vassar Sullivan driver Santino Ferrucci.
You really get to see from the GMR track facts the difference in speed. 185 on the straight, all the way down to 57 for turn 1. That's the accordion effect that Paul talked about on the start. If we get a restart, we'll see that surface as well. Further back, how about Simon Pagenaud, buried way down there.
And he's only made
18th. This is last year's winner.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Big lockup from Rinus VK. Keeps it on track.
Yeah, he's made up one position, Simon Pagenaud, so far, so not really moving forward. He's going to put a lot of pressure on this young rookie in front of him, force him to either make a mistake or flat spot those tires.
So it's Team Penske's Will Power leading the way from Meyershank Racing's Jack Harvey and Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan's Graham Rahal. It's refreshing to see Graham at the front. Inside move here. Nice work with Alex Palou. Alex Palou, the rookie, just passed the defending race winner.
That was impressive, Paul. I don't think Pagenaud saw that coming.
No, Pagenaud ran a little bit wide of the apex, and that left the door open. That was a nice pass by Palou.
Big move here. Look at this. Max Chilton on the inside of Ryan Hunter-Reay, that blue Gallagher Chevrolet. Great work from the former F1 driver.
Chilton has done a great job so far this weekend. This team has really improved over the last 6 months. They had a great run, like Townsend just said, at Texas, and they are backing it up on the road courses today.
Hunter-Reay now has his mirrors full with his teammate, Alexander Rossi. Rossi, so many issues to start the season, couldn't get off the grid at Texas. Had a few issues so far here, but he's got fire in his belly, and if there's one guy that knows how to charge to the front, it's Alexander Rossi, especially here at Indianapolis.
Let's ride for a moment with Rossi, the Auto Nation on board. Have a listen. Up onto the speedway. Tough corner, turn 12. Whoa, whoa, whoa. See, it's tough. It's caught a lot of people out this weekend.
Yeah, it's really tricky braking zone there. You're on the oval, so it's banked, so it messes with the crossweight, Townsend. Very easy to lock up and run wide.
Yeah, I saw him reach for the right front roll bar, stiffening the front roll bar. Dave Burns, how's the handling? What do you hear about Rossi?
Copy.
Just listening while he was responding. You see Pigot there going down to the inside. Pigot will have the spot on Rossi. I talked to Alexander just before he hopped into the car. They have had a tumultuous weekend. Remember, in practice, he had engine issues that cost him 35 minutes. In warm-up this morning, a fuel pressure issue that cost him 10 more minutes, and a slipping clutch. I asked him about the clutch. He said, least of my worries.
How about Spencer Pigot? Phenomenal effort from the 26-year-old American. He's made up 5 spots since he started this GMR Grand Prix at Indianapolis. He finished top 5 last year as well. So Pigot now finds himself knocking on the door of the top 10. Ryan Hunter-Reay is next on his list. Good clean start to the GMR Grand Prix. Round 2 of the NTT IndyCar Series. Plenty of passes everywhere, including this one from the Spanish rookie, Alex Palou, on Simon Pagenaud. That was slick. Seven laps completed here in the GMR Grand Prix at Indianapolis. Round 2 of the NTT IndyCar Series for 2020, and it's Team Penske's Will Power, who leads this race from the pole position. Do you know what? Every time he started in this Indy Grand Prix on the pole, he has converted it to a victory. And speaking of Penske, we need to welcome in another one of our team members, Rutledge Wood, to talk about the new owner of this famed facility. And what has he done, Rut?
That's right, Lee. You know, it is so exciting to be here this weekend and see all of the progress and the changes that Roger Penske made. His idea was to preserve the legacy of this track, but make it even better for fans. So try to make the way that they come in and out of the track better. Try to plant things, make it more beautiful. They used 4,000 gallons of paint on their way to make the new bathrooms, all of the video screens, and behind me here at the Pagoda, you can see the gigantic video board. And Roger stopped by yesterday when we were out here checking it out. He wants to have thousands of fans pack this area and never miss a minute of the action. One thing's for sure, he is so ready for those fans to come back here for the 500, Marty.
Hey, Rod, there's one organization that can win all 3 races this weekend, and it's Team Penske. They're looking good right now with Will Power out front, and they look pretty good in the NASCAR Xfinity Series race coming up later with Austin Cindric arguably having the best car in that garage area. If they can win the Indy GP today, they will do something they've never done in their 50-plus year history. They will win 6 races in a row at one racetrack. Andretti has done it. Ganassi has done it. Team Penske has never done it. So Dave Burns are trying to set a little history of their own today.
3 drivers on pit road, Marty, and off pit road. Paddock Award, the 5 of, looking at it now, that was Paddock Award. The 55, that was the car of, well, James Hinchcliffe was in as well, and Alex Palou was in. So as you see him coming off pit road, Hinch told me this morning they're definitely on a 3-stop strategy today, and he's got 2 fresh sets and 1 used set of reds to use. So reds all day for him, Lee.
And it's been he's going to be playing catch-up here. Speaking of playing catch-up, Simon Pagenaud is still buried in 17th place. It's time for the defending race winner to come in.
Yeah, going off strategy. It looked like he wasn't really able to make any Townsend, any hay on Palou.
Yeah, looking for a clean track, Marty, and quick lap times after this stop.
Good point, Townsend, and that's exactly what Kyle Moore is doing here. Obviously, the guys who won the Indy GP and the Indy 500 last year, starting 20th. And you see him just trying to get a little air inside the car, Townsend. You can talk about that in a moment. It is so hot inside these race cars with that aero screen. So Simon doing everything he can to get any air on his head. They're going to come in, and they told him, we're going to put on sticker reds here. We want you turning qualifying laps. So the key is, can they get out with a clean racetrack, and can they make up time on that lead group? Obviously, have now put themselves in a position for a 3-stop race.
Could be challenging, though, for Pagenaud, as he's going to come out just behind probably Askew, maybe Marco Andretti even here in turn 1. Looks like he'll come out in front of Hinchcliffe and Andretti, but just behind Askew. So now with sticker reds, he's got to try to make lap time right now. That's the only way this strategy can really play out.
Yeah, he's definitely committed to 3 stops now. None of these guys are going to do this on 2. As here comes Scott Dixon. He was quickest in warm-up, and he really was losing ground to the front 5 cars.
And PG, this one surprises me a little bit because going off on those primary tires, those sticker black tires to start the race, the theory was they would run a little bit longer here, make a short stint with those red alternate tires, but they are going now to those red tires for Scott Dixon. So coming in, and he's going to take on those red tires. You see that big wing adjustment with those sticker red tires going on, a much different handling situation. His teammate Felix Rosenquist also going to those alternate tires. So the Ganassi cars kind of splitting the strategy. Their teammate Marcus Ericsson, they're in fuel-saving mode on those primary tires out on the racetrack. So Townsend, sometimes you'll do that as a team, right? You'll kind of split the strategy between 3 cars.
For sure, that's the benefit, is give yourself, place bets on the roulette table across multiple numbers, if you will. There goes Paddock Award as Rosenquist rejoins. And I am surprised that Dixon pitted, Paul, with the harder black compound. You would have thought the attempt was to run long, but as you pointed out, they just didn't seem to have the pace.
Yeah, he didn't have the pace, and I think that they feel they're going to win this race. They're going to have red tires and go fast. The front 5 cars of Power, Harvey, Rahal, Herta, and Newgarden, I think are going to try to do this on a 2-stop strategy. Do they have the speed to be able to hold off cars that are running fast on reds, Dave?
Rossi started on reds here. And Townsend, remember we talked to him yesterday about maybe being ragey fast? Well, remember all the problems he had. He's been pretty quick out there in the 27, now getting a change of tires on it on pit road.
Clear out. Gonna have to
Here is Marcus Ericsson, the third of the Chip Ganassi Hondas to be serviced and sent. So the full complement of the Ganassi cars. Meanwhile, up front, and you see Alex Palou in the background there. So Alexander Rossi, Marcus Ericsson, Alex Palou, the three cars on screen. Up front, Power has extended his overall lead to 1.5 seconds over Jack Harvey and Graham Rahal. Unchanged in the top three and unchanged on strategy here. Power staying on track, not pitting.
Really important part of this race right now is watching Will Power and seeing how the pace is.
Hey, Will,
and also, Marty, what's the fuel mileage like?
Yeah.
Could they actually make this on 2 stops?
They've just given him, there you go. There you hear the number. Fuel 91 is okay for Will Power. The magic number, you have to get the lap 25 if you want to do that. So if they want to make it a 2-stop race, you have to get the lap 25 to do that. But the one thing I think is at play here, you saw Marcus Ericsson kind of bail on the strategy along with the other Ganassi teammates, Townsend, is that normally when we come here, it's 50, 60 degrees. It's 90+ degrees, so literally 40 degrees warmer. So these teams are kind of having to try to feel this out as they go along and adjust on the fly and call audibles.
You don't need to tell me about heat, Paul. Last night I was in Daytona practicing in my IMSA Lexus. We raced there tonight. I'll fly back right after this race. I unplugged my air hose and my cool suit on my in-lap, and I about passed out. It was so hot in the cockpit. I feel for these guys. You know what it's like, PT.
Absolutely. It's 130 degrees inside this cockpit right here. But here's the question mark, guys. With this pit strategy, if it goes yellow at any time right now, as these cars are coming in and out of the pits and one of these guys get together, these cars are going to have to pit under yellow, and that will cycle all the cars that have already pitted towards the front. So you're in the danger zone right now.
The other thing to consider,
we only got about a 4-second buffer right at the moment. Let me know how you think the tires are holding on.
always that feedback between driver and engineer and strategist. The other thing, big thing, folks at home, to take into consideration, this is the first time the IndyCar field has raced on a road course with the new aero screen. You see that screen in front of the driver, new for 2020. Built by Red Bull Technologies and Dallara, IndyCar did an amazing job to make these drivers safer in 2020. In regards to what has happened in the past in open wheel racing on a global scale. And this is kind of uncharted waters for the drivers. What kind of ventilation do they have? Through that duct under the front of it, and also you see there on Graham Rahal to the bottom left of your screen, the air blower in the top of the helmet, trying to keep the drivers cool, make them comfortable, and they've got to go almost 200 miles today in 90+ degree heat. This is a very tough physical examination here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You're watching NBC's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Global Medical Response, providing care to the world at a moment's notice. By America's Best Racing. Visit americasbestracing.net/strong to learn more about how to play the races. And by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. Welcome back to Indy. As our aerial views come to you courtesy of our friends at Geico, isn't that a wonderful shot? Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, Paul Tracy with you, along with Dave Burns and Marty Snyder. Marty, what do you got?
Well, Lee, I can tell you all those pit stops that you saw a moment ago were not planned. They were kind of adapted and called an audible because they saw how fast Scott Dixon was once he put on those brand new Firestone red tires. In fact, Will Power, who was completely committed to the two-stop strategy, and the leader, they're coming in this lap because they have seen how fast Scott Dixon is on those brand new tires. The problem for Power, he started the race on his sticker red Firestone tires, so his only option here is to come down pit road and put on scuff red Firestone tires. He's have about 2 laps on them, so they will not be able to chunk out that very quick lap right when he goes out on the racetrack. But the key here, his teammate Joseph Newgarden is first of those who have already stopped. Can they come out ahead of Joseph Newgarden? Power said the car is excellent. He wanted no changes, but going to the scuffed tires, they may make a small change here. He puts those red Firestone scuffed tires on. Power has led all the laps to this point. Now, can he stay in front of his teammate Joseph Newgarden for the battle of those who have already pitted? Jack Harvey in the lead, though, right now.
Yeah, so Will Power has given up on the two-stop strategy, Townsend. He saw that Scott Dixon was initially running almost 2 seconds a lap quicker, but here comes Dixon down the front straightaway.
Yeah,
he's
there's
clear.
Newgarden, his teammate at turn 1, so Power on cold tires. Newgarden, that gives you the gap that Newgarden was able to close by pitting earlier and committing to that three-stop strategy. There's Colton Herta, Dalton Kellett. There's Scott Dixon. Look at the gap that Dixon's made up to Power.
Interesting new times for Scott Dixon after being with race engineers Chris Simmons for so long. He's got renowned and veteran engineer on the box this year in Michael Cannon, and the new relationship has formed very nicely, Dave.
They told Harvey to go, go, go. He did, and now he gives up the lead for some used red tires. Also a little bit of turn in the front wing for a chassis change.
And that was a fast stop for the Shank team. 7.4 seconds, Townsend.
Yeah, he stopped us slightly short of the marks, but the Shank guys did a great job adjusting on the fly with the position. Now Graham Rahal leads. He stays out at lap 19, but Harvey obviously calling the three-stop strategy commitment there. Here's Rahal on board.
Yet to pit is Graham Rahal, Connor Daly, Spencer Pigot, Santino Ferrucci, and Sage Karam.
Hey, you'll be clear here.
Top 5 cars.
Harvey has lost a position to Newgarden, but has come out in front of Dixon. So lost a position there, but Rahal sounded, Townsend, like he was coasting to the corners, like he was saving fuel, like he's going to two-stop this.
Yeah, we'll get our answer in about
no activity
laps.
in their pits right now, guys. They are just sitting here, so nothing happening in the 15.
And look, a lot of race engineers have said that this race is doable on a two-stop strategy, but you would need some caution laps to help you out. There's not even been a sign, an inkling of a caution in this GMR Grand Prix at Indianapolis so far. This race last year was a career turning point for Jack Harvey here on screen in the Meyer Shank car. First IndyCar podium, and it was massive for Meyer Shank Racing. Ooh, I want to take you back just a moment ago, and the Arrow McLaren SP teammates. Check this out, boys. Whoa!
That's Askew with the blue end fences against his teammate Pagenaud Award. They'll run side by side. Whoa, that's tight. And Award exercising his authority on the rookie.
All right, Pagenaud next to you, Pagenaud next to you.
These guys fought like this in Indy Lights.
Race your teammate.
And I
racing your teammate.
Can see they're going to fight like this all year. They're very equally paired in this team, Arrow Schmidt-Pearson team.
You know what? Good proactive communication, though. Be nice to your teammate. Be nice to your teammate. Instead of teammates hitting each other and then the team getting mad, that was good, getting ahead of it. The last two Indy Lights champions are teammates in 2020.
Great information from the spotter, because, as you know, if they do come together, everybody's going to blame their spotters, right, Paul?
Yeah. So Rahal still on track. Daly, Pigot, Ferrucci, Karam all the way up from the back of the field as well. And then Power, it was the first, gave up on the two-stop. He's in 6th.
Paul, I got to wonder for you and Townsend, as we're down here before that big 90-degree left into the S's, the braking force these drivers are using has to be huge on your body as a driver. For people that don't know, what's that force like over a race like this lap after lap?
It wants to pull your head right off your shoulders. When you hit the brakes, it's literally a 5G load wanting to pull your head right off your neck.
Yeah, Rudd, if you lay down on that grassy knoll and just lay on your back and lift yourself up just with the back of your head, do that 30 times, you'll get a good feeling for what it feels like. 5.5 Gs inline on the brakes in an Indy car, high downforce, and tons of grip available.
Graham Rahal in the 5th third bank Honda for his father's team. Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan out in front, yet to pit, and enjoying some clean track ahead. You're watching NBC's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Honda, an official vehicle of the NTT IndyCar Series. By Gainbridge, protect and grow your savings with confidence. Learn more at gainbridge.life. And by Fifth Third Bank, official partner of Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan Racing. This is banking, a Fifth Third better. And that Fifth Third Honda is still out in front at the hands of Graham Rahal. However, let's talk about this Gleaners Honda driven by Colton Herta, the youngest ever to win in IndyCar history. He did it last year in Texas at the age of 18. This is what happened moments ago.
Yeah, he got down into turn 1, locked it up. He did that this morning in the warm-up, has to take the escape route. Doesn't lose you a ton of time. He really didn't lose any, just lost one position there to Dixon. So lucky break for him that's not a huge penalty.
Good news is he seemed to know the escape route very well. Looked like going from a permanent road course to the Long Beach Grand Prix there for a second. Ooh, I notice a problem there, guys. Look at the black hose on Colton Herta from the onboard. It's unplugged. He has no water. So the 4 guys at the top there at the pylon have not pitted yet. They are chasing a 2-stop strategy. The rest of the cars starting with Will Power on a 3-stop strategy. The difference is on a 3-stop strategy, you can go faster, but you spend more time in pit lane. On a 2-stop strategy, you have to go slower to conserve fuel and tires, but you do less time on pit lane. The key is who can go farther in the same amount of time.
And you lose around 40 seconds doing that transition and stop through pit lane. Let's take a ride with Colton Herta, courtesy of Auto Nation. ...185 miles per hour, the Firestone telemetry. And if you're in a draft, you can actually go a little bit quicker than that, up towards 190 down into turn 1. Expecting that race leader, Graham Rahal, is headed for the pits anytime soon. Let's keep an eye out for Graham.
His pace has been phenomenal, Townsend. Last lap for him is a 12.4, which is virtually almost one of the quickest cars in the field right now on these old tires. So right now looking really strong.
Looking like a great day for Graham Rahal. Not only the pace ball, but the fact that he's done 26 laps along with 2 pace laps to start this race to put himself, 3 pace laps to put himself in contention with this 2-stop strategy. I didn't think anybody could go this far, and you can hear him coasting the brake zones. Let's see if he comes for pit lane. Here he comes.
Hit this lap, box.
Tremendous opening stint from Graham Rahal.
Okay, pitches guys are laid out. You have to come around them. 3, 2, 1, in.
You heard it, primary black tires laid out, sticker tires for Graham Rahal. He felt great about his car yesterday, even before a career best at the Indy GP for qualifying of 4th. And he's looking good today. Good lap time. Spencer Pigot and Santino Ferrucci also scheduled in.
Super long first gear on these cars. You hear as they pull away, it's really tough to get away and spin the tires. As we watch Pigot now on the pit lane.
They lost a wheel nut on the left front.
Yeah, front tire problem.
Oh, Connor Daly almost stalls it there. There's the Mauser Molex car of Santino Ferrucci, who went from 15th to 4th. More issues on the right rear. That's another wheel nut gone missing. And he stalls it.
I think he stopped out of caution to ensure that that wheel nut was on properly. So, listen, there's been a lot of brake, and you can practice back at the shop as much as you like, but nothing is like the real thing, and Santino Ferrucci is going very slow. I think he thinks something is maybe not right with his car, or is he okay? Just that long shot makes it look a little slower.
Probably wants to make sure that everything's tight, too. Will Power, now the leader. Rahal in 4th, but Rahal with a great advantage on that 2-stop strategy.
So it's 2 Team Penske cars in 1st and 2nd. Will Power with a 4.5-second lead over the 2-time and defending series champion Joseph Newgarden. Jack Harvey in 3rd. Graham Rahal is under 10 seconds behind now in 4th place.
Yes, but can Graham Rahal do this on one more stop to everybody else has to do 2 more stops?
I think he can. I mean, he's shown the pace. He did it on reds. We'll see how the blacks hold up. The issue could be just cooling himself down as you see the left hand go up and try to direct some more air into that cockpit.
What a day for Graham Rahal. Is he going to upset this amazing trend and history that Will Power has at this track? We'll find out. NASCAR returns to NBC, and NBC's doubleheader weekend right here from the Brickyard continues in Indianapolis tomorrow at 4 Eastern, right here on NBC. It's the Big Machine Hand Sanitizer 400 powered by Big Machine Records. Coverage begins with NASCAR America on NBCSN at 3. Looking forward to that. It's all about this doubleheader weekend, NASCAR and IndyCar at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the very first time. Time now, though, to go through the field with thanks to Honda. Marty, take it away.
Hey, Lee, when I was with the Team Penske drivers earlier this week, I asked him if there's an Xfinity Series ride open somewhere at Team Penske, who's going to be first in line? He said Joseph Newgarden raised his hand first. He's in second. But Will Power said, I would love to race at Bristol in an Xfinity Series car. I think that'd be a bit of a challenge for him, but Power with a commanding lead. 5 seconds over that guy, Joseph Newgarden, who, as I said, was the first guy to raise his hand. He said, I'll race anywhere in an Xfinity Series car. That what makes this crossover weekend so cool. They're enjoying watching the Xfinity Series cars, Dave.
Jack Harvey running in podium position again this year. When he finished third last year, his phone blew up. He said, that's great when you're sitting down having a beer later after the race. Beforehand, not so much, but I'll take that again if I can get it. Looking good now. And Graham Rahal, would it be a treat for him to win anything here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway? Yes, running well now. Had a great pit stop and a great first stint, Marty.
Really loose on these.
There you go, Graham Rahal saying really loose on these tires. Scott Dixon, meanwhile, sitting back in the 5th position. Mike Hull told him a moment ago, we're coming in about 4 laps. How's the car? He said the rears are really bad. So Dixon was the first to come to pit road of those guys who went to 3 stops. Looks like he might be the first to come to pit road here in a moment. Colton Herta, hey, Townsend, you caught it earlier. Yes, he did not have the straw in his helmet because the drink bottle broke open inside the car. So he just took the straw out of it. And Dave, I tell you what, on a 120-degree day inside the car, can't be fun to have no water.
Alexander Rossi looked like he was looking forward to the day when I talked to him earlier, having a good run here after a tumultuous practice and qualifying session all the way up to 7. Pagenaud Award is next in the 5 car. That young driver, the veteran of the 2 young drivers on the team that get no tests and not much practice this year. Worst case scenario if you haven't had a lot of starts, but Pagenaud showing very well.
Meanwhile, Marcus Ericsson hanging in there in the 9th position on those older tires, saying the car's starting to slide around quite a bit. He spends his time riding almost 60 miles a day on his bike, and here in the heat in Indianapolis, Dave, that can be fun, but you know what? It gets you ready for a race like this.
Pagenaud's teammate is Oliver Askew, had such a great qualifying run yesterday as a rookie. They're kind of the odd couple because Askew's apartment, very messy. Pagenaud's apartment, very neat and clean. They live in the same complex and hang out a lot together off the track, Lee.
It's a great story, and I look forward to watching how it unfolds over the course of this 2020 season. Hey, guess who's here with us on this doubleheader weekend? Mike Tirico and NASCAR Hall of Famer Dale Jarrett. Time to say hi to the guys.
Well, hello again, Lee. As we watch the onboard, they just come by the pagoda. This is where Dale and I get the chance to watch this race. First off, as a NASCAR guy, your thoughts on the crossover and being here to watch the Indy cars on the road course?
Oh, what a great weekend. And to see these cars, how different they are than the stock cars maneuvering around here, just incredible and such a fun weekend to be a part of.
What are you noticing here, lap 34 of 80 so far?
Well, there's more that crosses over with the NASCAR teams and drivers with the strategy changes in early part of the race, going from a 2-stop strategy to a 3-stop, drivers wanting to go faster for a shorter period of time. So a lot of things crossing over. Also a few mistakes by the pit crews, which is just because they haven't been doing much.
Yeah, remember, this is just their second race, and it's been a month or so for the Indy cars. Rutledge Wood, you're down there.
Mike, you know, it's interesting. We're all missing the fans right now here at IndyCar, but the fans have been showing up in other ways this week in the city, whether it's over on Main Street. Check out this. They've got some amazing chalk art that they were doing. They were trying to show signs, show their support, understanding what the rules of COVID right now and how things are in the state. They can't party here yet, but I tell you what, as we mentioned earlier, Roger Penske is all about getting those fans back in the seats as soon as he can to enjoy some incredible racing. But for all the NASCAR fans that are watching, Marty, it's so cool. They're getting to see a different car on the track and then get to see the Xfinity Series later today, buddy.
That's what's awesome about this weekend. Scott Dixon on pit road. They'll have to make another stop. He told Mike Hull, you need to make a significant change. The car is getting worse the longer we run. They went to sticker red tires, but Dixon, Simon Pagenaud, they've already been here for their second stop of the day, so they all have to make one more stop. You got to wonder if they're going to gain some time by pitting earlier than everyone else.
That was a cleaner stop for the DHL Honda of Ryan Hunter-Ray from Andretti Autosport, and Scott Dixon was able to stay ahead of Colton Herta. Here's Pato O'Ward fighting with defending race winner Simon Pagenaud. Pagenaud is where he started, in 20th position. Tough day for the Frenchman.
Must be a shocking day for Pagenaud. So dominant last year in the rain, hunting down Scott Dixon, making the pass on the last lap. And Paul, he's just trying to get himself into the top 15 would be a miracle at this point.
Yeah, the problem is everybody in the field is running about the same time, Dave. What's going on with Rossi right now? Here he comes.
No changes to him, Paul. At this point, he's going to come in. He's going to take on Blacks, as you see them putting the fuel probe in, giving him lots of fuel and also the Firestone tires to get him through the next stint.
So virtually everybody committing to 3 stops.
Pit lane, you're trying to beat him. Big 4.
Ray Hall still not losing Townsend a ton of ground to Will Power. He's only got one more stop to go. This is going to really be the crossover point here in the future.
Issues getting fuel into Marcus Ericsson's car. It seems that was an unusually long pit stop, but up front with Graham Rahal, watch that gap on the left-hand side. 14 seconds to Power. I'll get back to that. Watch Rossi. This, you can't stop better than that. Perfect on his marks. He locks up all 4 about 15 feet early. Look at that red T where his left front is. That is exceptional. This guy is in full rage mode today, doing everything he can to drag a result out of that 27 AutoNation car.
We're edging ever so close to the halfway point of the GMR Grand Prix here at Indianapolis on a very hot day. Whoa, that's Oliver Askew. After qualifying in the Firestone Fast 6, trying to get consecutive top 10s, he has had a huge crash. Turn 14 coming onto the speedway.
That's where Ericsson crashed last year, so this is going to affect the strategy now. Will these guys pit again? Does Rahal stay out or pit? This is really going to throw a monkey wrench into things. But it looks like he got loose. That's a very fast corner coming onto the front straightaway, Townsend. It probably got loose on him, and he had to correct it, and it got away. Very similar probably to Ericsson last year, who crashed in the same spot.
Here's how it happened.
There we go. It's a flat-out corner. You can see it gets loose. Oh! Ooh! Virtually the same accident that Marcus Ericsson had last year.
He started to get wheel spin. He had the correction. He thought he had it. He never really lifted. He kept his foot in it, trying to preserve lap time by not having to do a big lift. So right here, he's a little loose, stays after the throttle, and boom, just way too much of a, I mean, didn't do anything wrong other than losing the rear tires, but just a huge correction and just no way to catch the snap as it came back.
What a shame for this young driver from Jupiter, Florida. Started his IndyCar career a month ago with a top 10 at the very challenging Texas Motor Speedway. He had a career-high qualifying position here and felt confident to mix it with the big boys of IndyCar. And it's ended in pretty spectacular fashion for Oliver Askew of Arrow McLaren SP. Good to see Oliver step from the Chevrolet powered car.
Be interesting to see if Power and Newgarden pit again and get on the same strategy now as Rahal. Rahal can't really afford to pit because he'll have to pit twice.
Yeah, but why not pit now under yellow and break up the last two group? You know, I think Rahal might bail on the 2-stopper.
Yeah, guys, Scott Dixon might be the guy in the catbird seat here. Mike Hull has already brought him to pit road. They came down at lap 33 along with Colton Herta and all of the guys in front of them, except Rahal. They're going to stick with their 2-stopper strategy here. they're going to have to come to pit road, and that's going to put them behind all of the drivers who have already pitted for a second time. So you're right, PT. This definitely throws a monkey wrench in it, but certainly gives an advantage to Scott Dixon.
Scott Dixon has finished runner-up here the last 3 years in succession. And if you think that bothers him, you are correct, especially last year when he was passed by Simon Pagenaud with a lap and a half to go. He wants to win this one. He lives here in Indianapolis. He's a 5-time champion, and he wants this race victory.
Back at Indianapolis for the Indy GP, Will Power, the man who has led 28 laps so far today, coming to pit road. All of those guys who had not made their second stop yet also coming. Joseph Newgarden, the reigning champion, leaves pit road as well. So this is really going to mix things up, and Scott Dixon stayed on the racetrack as we expected, Lee.
Dixon and Rahal have stayed out, and this is going to be problems, Townsend, for these guys, because now they're buried in the back of the pack, and you got Power or Rahal and up front, and he's been able to run the pace, saving fuel. Look at all these cars in between them now.
Guy that's in a sweet spot is Scott Dixon because he started on the harder primary tire. Don't forget that Dixon pitted on lap 11. We figured out that the red tire is really the one to have for pace, so I think Dixon's looking good. Power is going to have to finish on the harder black tire.
Have to run both compounds at least once during an IndyCar race. There is the damaged Arrow McLaren ST Chevy of Oliver Askew. The die-hard batteries you know and trust are now at Advance. Unrivaled performance meets unrivaled expertise. Die-hard batteries now at Advance Auto Parts. And while we've got the time, I want to take the time to remind you, Monday, Dwayne Johnson brings in Super Bowl champion Victor Cruz and Ninja Warrior Jesse Graff to take on all comers to become the next Titan champion. The Titan Games Monday right here on NBC. We're ready to go back. Perfect timing. And that baby blue fifth third Honda out in front. That's Graham Rahal. Rahal has led 10 laps in this race so far. He sees the green, and here comes his teammate up the inside. Spencer Piggott is well placed on the inside there, up against Sage Karam. Karam's making it difficult, but Piggott will get the move.
You're clear.
Nice work. And here comes Connor Daly in the U.S. Air Force Chevy for Ed Carpenter Racing. Then Scott Dixon.
Sage is a lap down, fighting these guys pretty hard, but these front three guys are on now one stop to go. They are now in the driver's seat here. This yellow has really hurt Power and put him all the way there at the back of the field.
Dixon in that orange and blue PNC Bank Honda, being followed through there by Colton Herter in the Gleaners car, that brown, white and blue Honda for Andretti Autosport. Listen guys, while we see so much of Scott Dixon in the Ganassi car, Chip Ganassi Racing is celebrating its 30th anniversary, okay? And while we think about that, we would be remiss if we didn't send well wishes to Alex Zanardi, two-time IndyCar champion, former F1 driver. Of course, suffered that horrific accident at Lausitzring in Germany back in 2001 where he lost his legs, came back to racing, became a Paralympian, became a multi-time Paralympic gold medalist, and I think 10-time world champion. Alex had an accident in recent weeks, has undergone 2 head surgeries, and is again fighting for his life. We wish Alex well.
Rossi's off the pace. It's got a misfire. Listen to this.
Copy. Back to white one. White one.
Oh. And when it rains, it pours. They had a car that wouldn't start at Texas. It wouldn't get off the grid. He lost 2 laps. Now he's going to lose another bad one. Dave, see what's going on there.
Well, for Rossi,
we're going
this
to fill
is
it with fuel, and then we'll see what we can do from there.
Remember the morning warm-up, guys, he had that fuel pressure problem.
Well, remember at Texas, he had an issue just before the race even started. We're only a race and a half into this season, and Rossi's had 5 or 6 major issues. Let's listen to the restart and see if we can figure it out. He can't even get off pit lane. Wonder if it's the clutch.
It sounds like it's just something going electronic-wise with the power. It just not making any power misfiring.
We'll see what we can do.
So painful to have to drive a whole lap like
I
that.
missed it.
I think it might be the clutch. Still won't go. It stalls
Not
again.
doing anything. Switch it off.
Ed Carpenter Racing teammates here, the 20 and the 21 of Connor Daly, and the Sonax car there, that black and white Chevy of the 19-year-old Dutch driver Rinus VK going at it. That's for 5th and 6th.
Great day for Ed Carpenter Racing, Paul. Both of these young Chargers looking very strong and on a road course where ECR has worked so hard to improve their performance.
Yes, VK had a
Closing to
horrible
2.
first race in Texas. He crashed twice. He makes a move down the inside of his teammate. Nice pass. Wow.
Guys, he had such a nightmare in Texas. You just spoke of it. He used the word nightmare himself. When I saw Ed Carpenter this morning, I said, Ed, little smile on your face after Rinus VK's weekend this weekend. And he said, oh yeah, a whole lot better. Hey, a rookie's got to get used to it. It's really tough in this series, and Texas was a tough place to start. Rinus is having a good day today.
I don't get the feeling that battle is over because Connor Daly on the blacks, VK on the reds, and that'll flip-flop on the last round of stops. I believe VK, no, he'll get to go back to reds. He started on the primaries, so VK in a really good position for these last 36 laps.
And he won the Indy Lights race here on the Indianapolis road course a year ago. So look a little further back. Here's Pato O'Ward. He's fighting with Santino Ferrucci.
So Connor Daly started off this run in 3rd. Now he's dropped to 6th, struggling. He's got a whole line of cars behind him. Dixon now has moved himself up to 3rd, and he's chasing down Piggott.
And guys, someone we thought was all but out of this, Simon Pagenaud now in 7th, 6 seconds back. As Rossi climbs out in the lower side of your screen there, you can see Rob Edwards, team manager in the white shirt. And what a frustrating start to this season. 2 races in a row, big drama, none of it his fault.
And non-finishes are something that you don't necessarily associate with Alexander Rossi. There's the orange and white Genesis Honda of our own NBC Sports teammate, James Hinchcliffe. There's Hinch. He's in the mix, and he's fighting with Santino Ferrucci inside the top 10. The red and white Husky Chocolate Honda is Marcus Ericsson, former F1 driver, second-year IndyCar driver. He was in the top 10 earlier and had that little hiccup on the pit stop. He was super frustrated in the cockpit. Now he's fighting his way back, trying to get by James Hinchcliffe.
Nice run right here. Hinchcliffe looking down the inside. A lot of marbles on track right now as Connor locks up fighting with Sage Karam. Goes off into the grass, and here comes Pagenaud around the outside.
Clear.
And here comes Pato O'Ward to the inside.
Whoa. Thought about it and then thought better. What about this honor for Connor Daly? Driving the U.S. Air Force Chevrolet on the 4th of July.
He's really
on
slow
your
right now.
Right corner. Looking outside.
He's really hanging on those black tires, Townsend. The reds right now are so much quicker than the blacks, and this track is rubbered up so much. There's a lot of marbles all offline, so it really hurt him when he got offline.
35 laps to go, so Connor Daly's got to hang on for about 8 or 9 more laps before he can pit and put those reds on.
Meanwhile, Scott Dixon has eased his way up into 2nd. And let's hear from the man who was recently retired from this race. Here's Alexander Rossi with Marty.
And Lee, you can imagine the frustration for Alexander Rossi. The car wouldn't start at Texas. Now another mechanical issue today. At the end of the day, Alex, what happened? Cars going by here on the front stretch. At the end of the day, what happened, Alex?
We just lost power when we started trying to get going again. So I think it's potentially a fuel pressure issue. We had a couple fuel pressure gremlins throughout the weekend. It's just unfortunate because we obviously got off to a decent start. The AutoNation Andretti Autosport Honda was good. You know, we had a difficult day yesterday, but I thought we were fighting back all right today for maybe a top 5. It's a shame to have 2 of these weekends in a row.
Yeah, with Texas and now this, describe the level of frustration.
Well, it sucks, but we got 2 double headers now in the next 2 weeks, so 4 races, so we're going to have to go hard and capitalize, and at this point, we're already thinking about going for race wins.
He mentioned it, Dave, 4 more races left in the next 2 weeks, so some time to make up ground for Alexander Rossi.
And Marty at the medical center now with Oliver Askew, who has walked out hard hit into the wall out there. You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay, just a little bit dizzy. Sure I'm dehydrated as well. It's super hot in the car, so.
really, really unfortunate, unacceptable, to be honest, to have a result like that. I'd have to go back and check the data and talk to the guys to see exactly what happened. But yeah, just watching the replay here, yeah, it just.
What did you feel there, Oliver?
Lost the rear of the car. I mean, that was towards the end of my stint, so the rears were starting to go away, and really just caught me off guard. So really sorry for the guys, and we'll move on.
The rookie, such a great start to his Indy GP weekend, qualified in the top 5, and now unfortunately is out having crashed at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. More great racing coming back on a triple header weekend from the Brickyard.
You're seeing there the garage area and the haulers of the NASCAR Xfinity Series. As soon as we are done with the IndyCar race in short succession thereafter, you'll see NASCAR Xfinity Series racing. Yes, on the same track, on the road course race track for the first time for the Xfinity Series here at the Brickyard tomorrow, the Brickyard 400 on the big oval. And while we're away, Scott Dixon, the 5-time series champ, has grabbed the lead and taken off. He is almost 5 seconds ahead of Graham Rahal.
He's running, Townsend, 3 seconds a lap quicker. He chased down Rahal, caught him on the front straight, made an easy pass into turn 1, and literally in 2 laps has opened up a 5-second lead.
Interestingly enough, Marty, Rahal still has 188 seconds of push to pass remaining. Dixon only 67. Now, Rahal is on those black tires and will go to reds to finish the race, so the pace will improve. But with Scott Dixon putting a 5-second and growing gap on Graham Rahal, Dixon's putting himself in another position, just like in Texas the first race, to cruise to a victory, and his first potentially here at the Indy Road Course.
Yes, second 3 straight times here at the Indy Road Course. Scott Dixon wants the win desperately here. And when he took the lead, Mike Hull said qualifying lap, Scott. So that's what they want. Graham Rahal, they know, has to come to pit road here fairly soon in the next 5-6 laps or so. They'll be on pit road. And at that moment, he can just take off. But already, once he passed him, he's built up a 5.5-second lead. That is amazing. You know, Lee, Scott Dixon turns 40 later this month, and he's showing no signs of slowing down, is he?
And do you know what, Marty? The old adage of age is just a number. Dixon turning 40 in a couple of weeks' time. Dixon holds one of the fastest 3 laps in this race. The other 2 are Rinus VeeKay and Oliver Askew. Those 2 drivers' combined age is 40.
Guys, I got to give his new engineer, a shout out. Michael Cannon has just joined Scott Dixon this year, and this could be, Townsend, a lethal combination.
Well, you take already the most successful IndyCar driver of this era and pair him with an engineer who's famous for coaching drivers of all ages, and you add strength to strength, and this is what you get with Scott Dixon. Now, here's what's interesting. You can probably make it at lap 53, making your final stop. If you're Scott Dixon and you make that, you have to save some fuel to get there, but you protect yourself against a yellow coming out. So that's what I'm watching for now. How much of a gamble does the Ganassi team want to make on risking a yellow? When will they make their last stop?
Danger zone.
And that's what Mike Cannon is considering right now. And you guys mentioned Mike Cannon. You know, Scott Dixon earlier this week said he's kind of old school, and I like that. I like his mentality. And there you see Mike Cannon on the bottom part of your screen. But what he really loves about Mike Cannon and what he brings, Townsend and Paul, you can relate to this. He's a former driver. He said he understands my language. He understands what I want in a race car. And the way we were able to build chemistry immediately and show that performance at Texas and clearly show that performance today, you're right. This could be a lethal weapon for Scott Dixon in 2020.
Yes, his dad was a racer. He's from Canada. He raced as well in Canada. I've worked with him at Team Players. He was Patrick's engineer. He was A.J. Allmendinger's engineer. He's worked with many young drivers. He's always been paired, Townsend, with young guys and been able to win with young guys. But you pair him with Scott Dixon, and like I said, it could be lights out for these guys.
Well, it has been so far. Look at the Texas performance. Look at where they are today. 7.6, 7.8 second gap in just a few laps. Dixon over Graham Rahal with 1 stop to go. Here we are, lap 53. Dixon stays out.
Let's not lose sight of the fact that Scott Dixon also was part of the Rolex 24 at Daytona race-winning team overall. 2020 could be one of Scott Dixon's best racing years on record. And a quick reminder, Coming up is the Xfinity Series race tomorrow, the Brickyard. And this quest for a 6th championship for Dixon could not have started any better. He hasn't got the victory yet, but boy, is he going to take some beating here today in Indy.
Spencer Pigot now is really caught up to Graham Rahal. Now that gap is really tight. Those two teammates are fighting. What a great day it would be. I mean, Pigot to finish on the podium, but here comes Connor Daly, who was struggling today with grip.
We'll make that wing adjustment.
You heard it right there, wing adjustment. He was one of the 4 drivers that did that lap 26 stop. So this from here will be 26 laps to the finish. So a few cautions thrown in there, guys. This should be his last one.
Brand new reds going on. You saw hard to get away again. The car Townsend barely spun the tires.
Yeah, but down and away on sticker red. So all of a sudden, that Air Force IndyCar is going to feel a whole lot better for Connor Daly on stickier rubber.
Will Power just really stuck in a quagmire here of cars. Can't really go anywhere. He restarted in 12th, 13th, and he's only currently right now 9th. His teammate Newgarden stuck in 11th. They just can't go anywhere.
Speedway running order. You know, we did Dixon, Rahal, Pigot, the 2 Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan cars in the top 3.
Paul, we've been doing this for 8 years, and I love it when you just drop words that I can't even define. Where did quagmire come from?
Here we go.
Dave?
And here comes Graham Rahal, used reds again, going on. Blacks coming off of the 15 car, and you see Simon Pagenaud rolling by Rahal. Where will they leave pit road? What will the advantage be for Rahal coming off? Marty.
Simon Pagenaud, you mentioned, Dave, flash by Graham Rahal. They're going sticker reds here on the 22. And the interesting thing for Mike Hull, who's the strategist for Scott Dixon, they're kind of seeing everybody pit. And Townsend, I think they're leaning towards what you said. Hey, yes, we have the fastest car, but let's protect. Let's not put ourselves in the danger zone. So I would expect Scott Dixon to come down pit road much earlier than they could have come down pit road. He'll be down here in a moment.
Marty, I saw those PNC guys laid out for Scott Dixon. So Dixon now has to come to pit lane. He's so fast. He's got a huge lead. There's no reason to risk it. And there they are, stretched out, relaxed, ready to pit Dixon.
And the reason he's doing that, in case a caution were to come out, he would be trapped out on there while everybody else has pitted. So smart reactionary behavior there, because they know that this will be the last stop. Whatever's flapping around at the top there, the air hose has been flapping around for quite some time, and it's clearly a point of frustration and distraction for Dixon.
He's trying to make sure it's plugged in, guys. That's what he was trying to do, because it is hot inside these race cars. In fact, Alexander Rossi, when he was sitting on pit road with this problem a moment ago, said, man, I cannot believe how hot it is inside this race car. When you have the best car, you play the conservative strategy. That is what Mike Hull has done here. Scott Fred tires going on for Scott Dixon. 0 changes, 7-3 on the stop, and should clearly have the lead. And they did not get that hose plugged in, so he does not have that clean air flowing, Townsend, like he would like.
What a relief for Scott Dixon to get that air hose back on. He must be frying in the car.
He's got some traffic right there, so he's got, I think he came out with one of the cars right there. He just got ahead
Max
Chilton, so no traffic, clear road. The question mark now, will Pigot, who's still on track, can he jump ahead of his teammate with a good in-lap and out-lap?
Oh, hey guys, Will Power on pit road came in for a stop, and you see him pushing him back to his stall. He stalled the car when he left. What a disastrous day this has been for Will Power, who at this moment has still led the most laps in this race. But what a frustrating second half of the race for Will Power, who lost a ton of track position.
It's been a big problem for all these guys all day as we watch Spencer Pigot. It's a super long first gear, and as you leave, you got to be wide open throttle, dump the clutch. Pigot gets away nice. Now let's see if he can come out in front of his teammate.
They asked Colton Herta a moment ago, do you want sticker black tires or do you want scuffed red tires? They told him to go with those red scuffed Firestone tires. A little bit long leaving there, got all the Speedway fuel in to make it to the end of this race. And you see him flip that visor back down. They're taking every moment they can, PT, to get any air to their face they can inside these cockpits.
Pigot and Herta serviced and sent for the final time, or what should be the final time in this GMR Grand Prix at Indy.
Simon Pagenaud gets by Pigot. So Simon Pagenaud right now is flying on those sticker reds. As we see Rosenquist now comes in. He's got used reds. Nice takeaway there.
So not quite yet past Pigot. This is Pagenaud. He got by Herta.
This is going to be a move right here. A lot of marbles on track. Does he have enough pace to outbreak him?
Defending race winner has had a tough day, has Simon Pagenaud in the Menard Chevy. Qualified 20th, and he's been mired in the pack for a good while. He has been fighting and digging hard.
Now this is interesting. Simon Pagenaud only 28 seconds of push to pass left. Spencer Pigot 143. I would have expected the opposite. I'd expect the veteran to be a little more patient with the button, but Pagenaud clearly has needed it to drag himself up from a 20th starting position to where he is now.
I'll show you what happened to Will Power just moments ago.
Yeah, just not enough revs. Dumped the clutch, and the revs weren't up on the limiter, and he got way down the pit lane there, like 2 boxes away. That was really costly.
Hot day on concrete, tons of grip right away. The tires just aren't as cold and slippery as they are normally.
Newgarden is the leader now as we watch Will Power on track here.
Need to skip away and leave the speedway momentarily. 22 laps to go. And Scott Dixon in a very strong position. Will Power playing catch up. A beautiful but warm day here in Indianapolis, and let's tell you what's coming up. Not too far away, NASCAR Xfinity Series action on the road course here at Indy for the first time, and then sports car racing. The IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship resumes tonight. Yes, our Townsend Bell, sitting here in between Paul and myself, jumps on a plane, flies to Daytona Beach, and will be in that WeatherTech 240 in the AIM Vassar Sullivan Lexus. I hear it's been pretty quick this weekend too, Townsend. And then tomorrow at 4 p.m. it's the Brickyard 400 on NBC, and of course lots of pre and post race coverage as well here on your home of motorsport. By the way, T-Bell, good luck. Go get them.
Yeah, thanks. I got to tell you guys, the reality just set in. It's 1:30. I'm sitting here in a broadcast booth in Indianapolis, and the race starts in 4.5 hours at Daytona. I think it'll work out. We'll see how that plan comes together. But this action is going to be fierce between these 4 drivers. Spencer Pigot, Simon Pagenaud, Colton Herta, and Rinus VeeKay, all battling for what I think will be a podium position here in Indy.
Here we go.
There. That's a podium position right there for Pagenaud. Another guy who's going to be a factor for this championship. He ran well at Texas, started way in the back today, and now he's moved himself up into potentially a podium position.
Not only a podium position, Paul, but potentially making a move on Graham Rahal, and second year in a row it would be Simon Pagenaud trying to chase down Dixon for the win.
Joseph Newgarden gives up the lead, comes to pit road. Tim Cindric kind of sticking with his plan here, knowing it's going to be tough to beat the 9 any other way, and also leaving Joseph on those red Firestone sidewall tires, the alternate tires, trying to hold off putting on these primary tires as long as he could. The wing adjustment on both sides for those primary tires. We'll see where he cycles out now.
Brand new sticker tires. Got away out of the box clean, unlike his teammate Power.
Well, if you've been missing a little bit of the NBA, watch this left front tire changer here. Take it, Paul.
Behind the back, throws it away.
That's Travis Law, the car chief. He's perfected that move in a number of years. But that was a good move, wasn't it, Townsend?
It was. He kind of slammed the gun down, though. It didn't have quite the finesse of some of the other ones we've seen earlier.
Those guns are like $9,000 too,
So Joseph Newgarden rejoins ahead of Pato Award behind Ganassi's Marcus Ericsson. Ericsson is in 8th position. So Zach Veach is the last one left out in front, and he's just headed for the pits right now. So that puts Scott Dixon back in the lead of the race. It will elevate Graham Rahal to second, but Rahal's about 13 seconds back. And then Simon Pagenaud is about, he's about 4 seconds further back again. So this is Dixon's race to lose at the moment. An incredible year, as we said earlier, winning the Rolex 24 at Daytona. He then went to Australia and did another sports car race in the Bathurst 12 Hour. That didn't go quite so well. Comes to Texas a month ago and has the most dominant car. He described it as one of the best cars he's ever driven, to just put a stamp of authority on that race, maximum points. And then here he is here at one of 3 home races. Yes, IndyCars will be at the Brickyard 3 times this year. Of course, today, then the Indianapolis 500 on August 23, which you'll see on NBC, and then the Harvest Grand Prix in October. Meanwhile, this scrap going on. Spencer Pigot in the MyJack entry has just lost a position to Joseph Newgarden, who continues to climb. Ericsson is up to 6th, Newgarden is up to 7th, and Pigot falling back.
But we're hearing Pigot is having some engine issues in that 45 car, so we'll monitor that.
Yeah, he was 3rd when Pagenaud got by. Now he's dropped all the way down to 8th place, so maybe some issue going on there.
Which is a shame because Spencer has driven incredibly well.
Let's just listen here in the last corner to Pigot. Yep, we're back up with Dixon. But it sounded like Pigot's engine was a little sick there.
Yeah. How would you feel if you had a 13.5-second lead? I'd say pretty good. That's Scott Dixon's world in the PNC Bank Honda. You're watching NBC's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. And the Die-Hard batteries available at Advance. By NTT, official sponsor and technology partner of the NTT IndyCar Series. By America's Best Racing. Visit americasbestracing.net/strong to learn more about how to play the races. And by Global Medical Response, providing care to the world at a moment's notice. Look at that. The racing capital of the world, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And this historic weekend of NASCAR and IndyCar being here same time for the first time. You know who else is here is Rutledge Wood. Where are you at, Rut?
You know what, Lee? I'm at one of the many improvements we keep talking about that Roger Penske made. I'm standing on the new car lift, sort of like a hat tip to the old times at North Wilkesboro, but this is actually going to lift the winning car right up here to Victory Circle so that all the fans can truly be right there with all the action. Now, we've seen what a lift like this could look like. We got the 22 rolling off there, but how cool is it going to be when we see who is up here later? And if a caution comes out, this could throw a wrench in the whole thing, right, guys?
Absolutely, Rut. And that caution could come potentially from one of the Rahal team cars, Paul, because Spencer Pigot has been complaining of engine issues and asking if he should come in. They told him to stay out. If an engine did blow and caused a yellow, that would help Graham Rahal catch right back up to Dixon for a dash for the cash here at the end.
Absolutely. Team said, don't worry about it. He came on the radio and said, I think it's going to blow up. And they said, stay out. So could be some team tactics to try to get a yellow and close that gap, because right now Dixon just is on cruise control and Rahal has really not been able to close the gap at all. Right now it's 14.7 seconds.
Do you know, guys, in 20 years in open wheel racing, Scott Dixon has never won back-to-back races to start a season. As a 5-time champion, he has never won back-to-back races to start a season.
And Marty, you and I were joking that Scott doesn't always start the seasons well, but you pointed out that this time of year, calendar-wise, is when he really comes on strong. So maybe it's a lunar thing for Dixon.
Well, we always thought it was halfway through the season, Townsend, when he actually kind of kicked it into gear. So maybe it's a May, June thing when he kicks it into gear. June, July, I should actually say. Obviously being dominant at Texas Motor Speedway and then running well here today and having, what is it now, with 13 laps to go, a 14, almost 15-second lead for Scott Dixon. Chip Ganassi sitting here in the pit stall. He told me he's really only left the house about 4 times, twice to go to NASCAR races, twice to come to IndyCar races. I think the IndyCar team is going to make sure he's sitting right where he's sitting for the rest of the year, because Scott Dixon about to go undefeated here in 2020.
And Chip's cars are 1st, 6th, and where is Rosenquist? 17th.
Rosenquist is down there. Look at push to pass, though. If a yellow came out and we had a restart with a few laps to go, look at how strong Rahal would be on push to pass seconds remaining for that extra horsepower. Advantage Rahal big time. So the last thing Dixon needs is a yellow.
Pagenaud has got the least of pretty much everybody, and he is closing the gap on Graham Rahal. He's been running about a half a second a lap quicker, but look at this rookie kid, Rena's VK, having a great race right now, currently 5th, trying to chase down Colton Herter right there in front of him.
A couple of former Indy Lights drivers and Indy Lights stars, and both have been victorious on this Indy road course in Indy Lights. But this Sonax Chevrolet has performed well, and the 19-year-old Dutch driver has done a really nice job. Boy, it was tough for him to get here a month ago, of course, with the COVID-19 pandemic, to come from the Netherlands to make it into the United States, but IndyCar assisted, and he had to do his mandatory time of quarantine. It was a stressful time, but he made it to Texas. That wasn't so good. He's erased those memories, and he will cherish this day in Indy if he can get a top 5. What a day for Rinus VeeKay. Ten laps to go in the GMR Grand Prix at Indianapolis. What a day it's been. 2 drivers have retired. There was 1 crash, 1 mechanical. Alexander Rossi and Oliver Askew not making it to the finish. That leaves 24 cars running, and 22 of those are on the lead lap. Scott Dixon is in command. He's almost 18 seconds out in front over Graham Rahal in second, and Simon Pagenaud with another gritty performance here at the Brickyard, coming from 20th on the grid. Here we go. The Dayglow Menard Chevrolet for Team Penske, and the Frenchman is up to 3rd. That is one drive. That is great strategy from race engineer Ben Bretzman, and another tough, hard-fought performance from Simon Pagenaud.
Yeah, he's closed the gap, Townsend, nearly 4 seconds over the past 5 laps, and he's definitely going to be gunning here for second step on the podium here, and going to go for a 2nd place. Right now, Rahal's just losing ground to Dixon.
Here he is, the car that Pagenaud's chasing, Graham Rahal, the 5th third bank Honda for Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan. Let's take a little ride and keep your eyes on the Firestone telemetry on the left. The speeds, the gears, let's go.
We are still watching fuel. You could use overtake to defend. You have more overtakes than the 22.
The previous lap, Townsend, was a 1:15 for Rahal and a 1:13 for Pagenaud, and he closed the gap. That lap, this last lap, was a 1:13.1 for Rahal, so he must have made a mistake somewhere on track.
Think about this, if Pagenaud can get by Rahal for 2nd place, you'd have Dixon followed by Pagenaud with a chance of rain, Marty.
Yes, what could change all of this, Townsend? Rain, it's in the area. In fact, they have brought out the rain tires in Scott Dixon's pits, and the engineers who are socially distanced, kind of sitting in the back of the pit stall, are watching the radar right now. As a matter of fact, that engineer right there is watching the radar, and they have a private channel and intercom here that the team talks on only, and you could literally see them talk to Chip Ganassi and him turn around and go, "Are you serious right now?" But there is rain about 7 miles from the racetrack. I don't think it's going to affect this race. And by the way, the NASCAR Xfinity Series coming up here in just a little bit, they do have rain tires here from later today, Lee, so that could be very interesting coming up in a bit.
Of which we will see Marty's son Myatt compete in. Also Jeff Burton's son Harrison Burton. So a lot to look forward to. And you took that great ride with Graham Rahal. Just the sights and sounds are going to be so much different in about an hour's time from now, when we see the Xfinity cars on track racing on the Indy road course for the very first time.
Dixon's got a couple lap cars there, Townsend, just up in front of him. He really doesn't need to even really try and pass him with the gap he has. He can probably now just maintain the pace he's running and run their pace and be safe. I don't know if I'd want to get up in the mix with 3 lapped cars that are all fighting each other.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Dixon could one-hand it home, given the talent and performance that he's shown and his Chip Ganassi team has shown with their car setup, their strategy, tire selection. It's been another perfect day, but with 6 laps, there's still a lot that can happen. Biggest thing, of course, would be a late caution from other guys getting pretty enthusiastic here in the closing laps.
Pagenaud is right there with Graham Rahal now, but he's really got no push to pass really available left. He's got very little availability, so it's going to be a tough pass because Graham's got a lot of it to use still.
And behind these two here, the battle for second is quite the gap, and you go back to Colton Herta in 4th. And that's a really good, strong point for Colton Herta, who got tangled up in an incident a year ago here. Had really good qualifyings both years, but last year was involved in an incident and taken out of the race after just 15 laps, and that gets a little taily there on the Gleaners Honda. Gleaners is a renowned food bank and a massive charity here in Indianapolis, and they do a wonderful job to help out the community. They service some 21 counties here in Indiana, feeding a lot of hungry people.
VK now coming under a lot of pressure from Marcus Ericsson.
Ericsson has to be careful, though. Just like I said, the last thing Scott Dixon needs is a yellow. So they've got to let Marcus Ericsson know that if you have a shot on VK, take it, but make sure it's a high percentage move.
An American, a Dutchman, and a Swede. The NTT IndyCar Series, truly an international field. 5 laps to go until Scott Dixon is looking at a 48th career win. Here's Graham Rahal on Marco Andretti. Of course, Marco not on the lead lap. He's had a bit of a rough day. Had some issues in morning warm-up, and we saw him have an off-track excursion earlier, so it's been tough for him in the US Concrete Honda.
Paul Dixon's going to have 20 seconds on Graham Rahal here pretty soon.
He's still pulling away, even just kind of cruising at home. He's still pulling out a second a lap. He's caught these lapped cars. That's Dalton Kellett in the AJ Foyt car right there. He'll probably make easy work of him, but really under no pressure and still pulling away easily.
Let's work our way down the field a little bit. Behind Ericsson is Newgarden in 7th. That'll be Newgarden's first top 10 here, and I said it was a rough day for Marco Andretti. Off track again.
Not even sure where he is right there. That's the apron. And
gathered up.
Just a lap.
Oh, he must have gone off
around near turn 10.
Yeah.
Oh, here's Zach Veach, his teammate, off track as well.
I wonder if there's some rain starting to fall.
Chip Ganassi must be thinking, please keep it together, guys.
No rain, PT, no rain.
2 guys off in the same area, so gotta wonder.
So Veach and the Gainbridge Honda able to get...
I am stupid. That's all right. Just regroup here. Let's finish it out.
Did he just say, I am stupid?
He did.
What happened to Zach Veach? Up ahead is James Hinchcliffe fighting with Connor Daly. The 2 old roommates.
Well, you have landlord and tenant basically there from back in the day. Landlord wins the battle. Here comes Veach on Connor Daly.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened to Connor. He was all the way up inside the top 3 for a while, and then he's just kind of fallen way back.
Whoa! Talk about sending it. Zach Veach. That was bold.
He gave himself some immediate self-assessment.
Comes out behind his other teammate, Ryan Hunter-Reay.
So he lost 1 position to Hunter-Reay. Now 14th is Veach. Connor Daly hanging on to 12th.
That could have so easily been the yellow that Scott Dixon didn't need.
Bit further back in the pack, guys, Pato O'Ward for Arrow McLaren SP is en route to his first top 10 of the season. Here is the 21-year-old Mexican. His teammate crashed out in spectacular style, but Pato will fly the flag for Arrow McLaren. By the way, the McLaren Formula One cars had a good qualifying session in Austria for tomorrow's Grand Prix. Santino Ferrucci for Dale Coyne Racing with Vassar and Sullivan in the Mauser Molex Honda. He's inside the top 10, as is Takuma Sato in the One Cure Honda, who's had a good comeback drive as well.
And he's fighting Joseph Newgarden, so Newgarden hanging on here. The 2-time champ, he's got Pato O'Ward right there, so he can't afford to make a mistake, Townsend.
Well, Newgarden's got the black tires, the primary tires on, which clearly not the tire to have today for performance and speed. And that's going to make his job even more difficult, holding off O'Ward with a lap and a half to go.
Track is really rubbered up. There's a lot of marbles everywhere now, and it'll quickly transfer over for the NASCAR race. So this track by the end of today is going to be well used.
So up front with just 2 laps to go. Hey, and are you about to turn 40 and you've got 3 kids? Well, don't worry, you can do whatever you like. Just look at this guy. Scott Dixon in a couple of weeks will be that magical 4-0, and there is no stopping this guy. 5 times a champion. Only AJ Foyt has more IndyCar titles than the guy you're watching on screen in the PNC Bank Honda. came over from New Zealand more than 20 years ago to the United States. He raced against our Townsend Bell in Indy Lights, raced against PT and Townsend in IndyCar for many years, and has just been the picture of consistency. And the way that his peers talk about him is truly remarkable. There is so much respect for Scott Dixon in this NTT IndyCar series for what he has done year in, year out.
One more lap here. Numbers good here.
He and his wife Emma and the kids, they grew the family over the past winter with son Kit. They've lived here in Indianapolis for many, many years. And to get a win here, which is something he has never done on the road course, by the way, will be super special.
You know, we talk all the time, Paul, about how competitive the IndyCar series is. And don't forget, this is a series where everybody has access to the same chassis, same tires, 2 different motors on offer. But Dixon's so dominant as this battle is going to go all the way to the line.
Yeah,
Pagenaud making moves on Rahal.
This is going to be it right here. This is really the last opportunity he's got down this straightaway. Rahal sliding a little bit through the flat-out chicane. Pagenaud's not close enough right there to really make a move on the brake zone, so it's going to happen at the start-finish line.
And Pagenaud's out of push to pass. 0 seconds left. Graham has 100 seconds.
As he was last year, Townsend. Meanwhile, while those guys scrap it out for second, Scott Dixon is coming around the closing turns. What a beautiful drive. What great strategy. 3 times a runner-up here on the Indy Road Course. Second no more. Scott Dixon wins the GMR Grand Prix at Indianapolis for the first time and makes it 2 wins to start the 2020 season. Pagenaud from 20th to 3rd, maybe 2nd or maybe not. Graham Rahal in that 5th third bank Honda will get there up onto the speedway, and 3 different teams in the top 3 positions.
Nice try.
Terrific drive from Graham Rahal. That yellow flag really took away what was a likely win for Rahal, but he gathered it back up on the restart to finish 2nd. But for Chip Ganassi and Scott Dixon, utter dominance, 2 races in a row to start this 2020 season.
Well, we got a big fight right here to finish off the rest of the runners here.
It's further down in the order.
Sage and Marco, neighbors in Nazareth, Pennsylvania.
Meanwhile, Colton Herta got home for 4th. Rinus VK, the rookie, for 5th. A phenomenal drive. And Marcus Ericsson in the top 10, along with the reigning champion, Joseph Newgarden. So a busy, hot, hard day's work in Indianapolis. But it has been won by Scott Dixon. 2 for 2 as far as the NTT IndyCar Series this year. Can't ask for more than that. PNC Bank Honda belonging to Scott Dixon and Chip Ganassi Racing. Look at that. About to get this historic lift for the first time. And this checkered flag moment brought to you by Advanced Auto Parts. The 48th career win to Scott Dixon in the GMR Grand Prix here at Indy. Phenomenal. And he'll enjoy this ride. A very different ride. Up to the top. Here we go. We've seen some practice runs. Now this is for real for the race winner.
That's pretty cool, Paul. Now we're talking.
Yeah, you can see the top of his helmet there, Townsend. The hose spout broke out of the plastic piece where it funnels the air in, so he had no air conditioning on top of his head for quite a while, so he's going to be one spent guy, but obviously very happy.
Look at the attention to detail from Roger Penske with the skirting on the bottom of the elevator lift. Nothing, no stone left unturned with his golden touch here at IMS.
And waiting to see the car roll off is our Marty Snyder. That's pretty cool.
I've got to say that was a pretty cool moment. I think for Scott Dixon, he certainly enjoyed that ride as much as he did the 80 laps to be able to win this race. So 48 wins for Scott Dixon. As you mentioned a moment ago, Lee, never in his career has he started with back-to-back wins. But man, 2020 is his 20th season and maybe his finest to this point in his career as Scott Dixon gets the ride into victory lane. Couple stories up here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The first one to be able to take that ride up the lift. And after a dominant win at Texas, he dominates at the Indy GP. Scott Dixon, with cheers from the crew underneath, wins at Indianapolis. Gonna throw on the mask. There you go, Scott Dixon, a winner in Indianapolis. It means so much anytime that you win at this racetrack. First of all, how was the lift ride, Scott?
That's a pretty sweet little lift there. I thought it might take a little bit longer, but it looks like they've done some practice there. But so good to be racing here back at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We've had, so many runner-up spots here on the road course. It was just nice we got lucky, man. The strategy, the team just nailed it. We got lucky with that caution. But as soon as we got the balance right, man, the PNC bag number 9 just checked out. So it was a pretty easy day towards the end of the part.
So when you flipped the strategy, and Mike Hull flipped the strategy at lap 10, did you think a 22nd win might be in the cards as Chip Ganassi comes by with his traditional slap on the back?
You don't know how it's ever going to go. Honestly, with about 15 to go, I thought there was going to be a caution, have a repack, and Graham Rahal was super fast. I couldn't believe his pace actually on the black tires, especially early on in that stint. So, just happy with having a little bit of luck that put us in the right direction. And once the guys on the car made a change, it was just so much easier to drive and we could check out. And that Honda power today was fantastic. And big thank you to Firestone for doing all that they do as well.
Dominant win at Texas to start the season. Dominant win in the Indy GP. If you look at the history of the 9 teams, this may be the best the team has ever performed, Scott.
That's pretty tough to say. This team's had some crazy years, even going back to 2008 with 6 or 7 wins. We've had a good start here at 2 out of 2, but we'll have to see. It's tough competition right now. The series has got huge depth to it, and we'll keep our heads down and keep trucking on. But can't thank everybody enough on the PNC Bag team. They keep giving it a little bit extra. I messed up in qualifying yesterday, but it was nice to rebound like we did.
He did it without airflow to that helmet for much of the race. Scott Dixon guts it out, gets Chip Ganassi a win at Indianapolis, Lee.
Awesome performance. Incredible performance. And we're going to bring you now the moment of the race, courtesy of Children's Miracle Network. And that moment, fellas, was when he got by the 15 of Graham Rahal.
Terrific move and a smooth sail to victory. Now, Graham was on the blacks at this point, Dixon on the reds. Graham didn't really have much choice at that point, but I've got to say, I could argue that Graham Rahal had the drive of the day because that 2-stop strategy, Paul, was on course for a victory until the yellow. Graham unlucky, but he hung on for a second place. I think that's one of his best drives ever.
Yeah, it certainly was a good run by Rahal, but I got to give the drive of the day to Simon Pagenaud. He started all the way down in 20th and worked his way all the way up through the field to challenge Graham Rahal right to the finish line for the podium.
And that's back-to-back podiums for Simon Pagenaud. So back-to-back wins for Dixon, but back-to-back podiums for Simon Pagenaud. There's Graham Rahal. Super day. You know what? That's his first podium in more than a year. Of course, we've had the elongated break, but it has been a long time. He just had 1 podium last year, and it's been a couple of seasons since Graham Rahal won. So certainly heading in the right direction for the driver of the 15 Rahal Letterman Lanigan Honda. Well done, Graham Rahal, in that hard-fought second place. Let's show you the results because there's some interesting names in good places. You know who's finished on the podium in the top 3 as the Xfinity cars are gearing up and getting ready for the Pennzoil 150 here at the Brickyard. Here are the results, and I've got to scoot all the way down to 5th place. How about the rookie, Rinus VeeKay?
Such a terrific bounce back from Texas where he crashed twice in one weekend to come home 5th as a rookie here at Indy. Excellent job.
Well done, Marcus Ericsson for Chip Ganassi Racing. That is a really good result. Newgarden, that's his first top 10 in this Indy Road Course event. Colton Herta toughed it out too, PT.
Yeah, and Sato, solid all day, brought home the Rahal team with a top 10. And you got to feel for James Hinchcliffe, he was fighting all day, started all the way at the back and moved his way to a solid 11th place finish.
Tough result for Connor Daly too, who was so strong early on, running in the top 5 and contending, and all the way down there in 20th. Lee, willpower, not the day he wanted.
Quick mention for Paddock Award and Santino Ferrucci inside the top 10.